What made you take the leap to start Techstars?
With Tech Sales Academy, it was just seeing this huge gap in the market for years and no one really addressing it properly. So when I joined Telstra Enterprises and I had to take a non-sales role to begin with. I was an account support role when I made the transition because I just didn't have the relevant qualification and skills. I got no training in that role at all. Zero product training, zero knowledge, process training, nothing. I was like, what the hell is this about? Like, I'm just expected to know this stuff. There's a lot of
That's what you
assumed
expect
knowledge.
to get when you walk into some place, especially like you hear Telstra, you think they got their shit together.
Yeah, they don't. So then I had to figure it all out, learning myself. Went through the fire hose of figuring out a sales process, all the technology, how all this pieces together. Then when I became an actual account executive and got my first B2B sales role properly, I thought, would there be more training? No, absolutely not. And I, again, just was obsessive about my process and then got to, within 4 years of being an account executive, I was actually coaching other enterprise BDMs in sales process and, absolutely crushed my number. I haven't missed quota in my entire career. My average is about 152%. So like, I know what I'm doing. And sort of people ask, and what am I doing? And then I got made redundant. And I was like, man, I want to get out of this machine for good. I can recognize this huge gap in the market for sales training. I'm a good coach. I love mentoring and developing people. It's my passion. Let me start this idea. Started it up whilst I was reeling from being made redundant as a top 1% performer at Telstra. I was like, yeah, I just want to work for a corporation again. Ran out of cash, as is what happens when you start a business and have no idea actually how to run a business. I didn't actually do it with that business. I had a different startup at the time though. Went to Cisco as a salesperson, as a mid-market account executive. And then they had training, but it wasn't that great. It was all product. It wasn't much about solutions, sales process, etc. And then I'm looking around, I'm like, this is a $58 billion US tech company that doesn't teach their people the right things to teach. And so I was like, I got curious again. And I was like, so how big is this problem that we've got? And in my first and really only full year at Cisco, I was the #1 mid-market AE worldwide, and I won 3 global top sales prizes. And I got to go to Europe, and I got to go to Asia and the US. And actually, in these junkets, I did a bit of my own research about what they're teaching people, and then I would just do my research about asking colleagues and friends, like, what did you learn to get good at sales? And I'm like, nothing, mate. I just sort of figured it out and put it together myself. And I realized, oh shit, there is no fundamental education for what we're doing here. Like, everyone is just making it up as they go along. No one set a standard. There's no frameworks. The closest thing we've got is MedPick because, they got social proof that a bunch of companies were doing it, but that's just some random people's intellectual property, right? So then I'm like, I've got a genuine opportunity. There's a genuine gap in the market here that I could potentially fill. And I actually pitched the VP of sales, of global virtual sales in Amsterdam while I was there. He was my VP in the part of my business.
Yep.
And I pitched him the idea for the academy, and he's like, this is interesting. We should have a conversation about this. And I'm like, bang, that's enough. If I've got a guy that runs a, 9-figure, almost 10-figure business saying this is a really cool idea, I got enough to put that on a smaller scale.
Yep.
And that's what I did. I went all in. And then less than 12 months later, I took the dive, which was last year, into try and making this thing and starting to build the business from there.